Hi there, it's Gabrielle Nicolay from SpeechKids, and I'm on my new day and time. Thursdays at 2 o'clock. So here we are, and I wanted to talk to you. I wrote a little bit earlier in the week, but I wanted to talk to you about this quote that I have just been ruminating over from Michelle Obama, which is that failure is a feeling long before it becomes an actual reality. And I just, it hits, first of all, if you haven't read Michelle Obama's Becoming, you should. It's a fabulous book. And it's just so interesting to watch her sort of describe her life. And she's led a really interesting life. So there you go. But that quote just really hit me because of the work I do with the families and with the families that I work with. Because what parents often say to me when they're coming in, and what they tell my practice manager when they talk to her is, we know there's something wrong, but we don't know what it is, and we're all really frustrated. Or we're all really confused about what's going on. We just don't know or understand. And they don't say, parents typically don't say to me, my child feels like they're failing. But what I find when I go is that's exactly what's happening. The child feels like they are failing. And when you feel like you're failing, and adults, this happens to us too, right? If you feel like you are bombing at something, you are going to kick, scream, fight, tooth and nail to either make sure you don't, or to make sure that that somebody else knows about it, right? So you're either going to figure out how to do it, or you're going to complain bitterly. And that's sort of what's going on when we've got kids with communication, who have some communication challenges, who are biting or kicking or screaming or whining. Any of these sound familiar? Or not using their words, or not learning the things that we expect them to be learning. There is a sense from these kids that they're drowning. They don't know what's happening. They don't know how to put words around it, obviously, but they have that feeling. And when I start to think about that, it actually makes me really sad, because at what age, if not at a very, very young age, do we want our kids to not feel like failures? There's plenty of time for that, right? The adult world will take care of that, and even middle and high school can be a challenge. But what better time than early childhood to feel full of yourself, to feel capable, to feel powerful, to feel just sort of all over like the world is a big, huge oyster, and adventure, right? That's what we want our very young kids to feel. That's how we want them operating in the world. Like, I wonder what's over there. Let me go see. And let me learn about that, instead of feeling like, which is the case for many of the children that I see, I don't know what that is. It looks unfamiliar. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer questions that people are going to ask me about it, so I'm going to stay away, right? Those are two really, really different ways of being in the world. And if you've ever seen a little baby or a toddler or even a preschooler who's not experiencing any challenges, who's developing as we expect them to develop, it looks really easy, right? I've talked about this before on these videos. Typical development looks really easy. And it's not. It's super complicated. But my point is, right, kids who are developing in a expected way, they have that spirit. They have that success mentality. They have that vigor. And that is what we want for the kids, even if they have a speech and language challenge, even if they have a developmental challenge. Even if they have a health challenge, we want, and honestly, if we're being like really big about it, we want that for grown-ups too. You know, I want that for you. I want that for me. I want that for everybody. But if we don't have it when we're little, then that only compounds, right? And so then we get to be an adult, and things are not happening the way we want them to, and we wonder why. We want that vigor. We want that exuberance. We want that sense of being capable in our very young kids. And when you put your child who's struggling with someone who can help them, that's what happens. That person, and in my case, obviously, it's speech therapists. That's not always the right form of therapy. Sometimes your child doesn't need therapy. They need a good teacher, whatever it is. But in my case, it's speech therapy. When you put your child with a talented speech therapist who's going to get to know them, who's going to get to not only know what their needs are, but who they are as a person and what they want and how they operate, and make that relationship with them, then you're going to start to see, yes, the therapist is going to teach them skills. Fine. We're going to teach them, today I was working on irregular verbs with a little person. Okay, fine. That's all nice and good. But what have I really done with that other little person that I was working on irregular verbs with? I have instilled confidence. I have instilled trust. I have instilled a sense that she's capable. Those are much, much more important than whether or not she can say, I made it versus I maked it, right? That sense of being capable, that she can be successful. That's what we do in therapy. And that's why that quote from Michelle Obama just has me thinking all the time right now. So that's my thought for the day. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.